Well, hey there guys, and welcome back. On this week's show, we're going camping. Now, from time to time throughout the summer, my wife and I like to do a little bit of camping, and we take a couple days before, maybe a day after a weekend, make it a 5-day kind of an ordeal. Now, there was a time when we would get the smaller tents and crawl in, and everything would be roughing it. We'd be on the ground in our sleeping bags, etc., etc. Guys, we don't do that anymore. Been there, done that, don't want to do it anymore. This old body does not like it when I do that. So we camp a little differently. You may call it glamping, you may not even call it camping at all. But I thought that today I'd take you through a little bit of a tour, let's say, of my wife and myself and our camping trips, and give you a little insight to the way that, well, we like to do it. Well, now, as I said, there was a time that we had a much smaller tent, a little North Face 4-man that we would crawl into. We still have that tent and still love it, but it's really rough on the body for me. So now we don't bother with that kind of a hassle. Now we have what a friend of mine calls the condominium, which is a 12-man tent. Now, in this tent, of course, we have a couple camping cots. We have all of our coolers. We have a tote with some of our gear in it. We have, of course, those end tables that I made here on the show, or the camping stools that we use for end tables. We have all of the comforts that we need right there in the tent. Guys, this thing has a 7-foot ceiling, so there is no more of this nonsense of trying to get dressed or changed while lying on your back in a tent because there's no room to stand up or stretch out or move around. This tent has a ton of room. I think it's something in the neighborhood of like 14 by 16 feet with a 7-foot ceiling. The thing is huge. We can set it up in about 20 minutes, but it definitely makes for a comfortable sleep. Now, one of the other things that we like while we're camping is we like to prepare food. But you know what? Again, we're not the open fire kind of thing. My son-in-law loves to do all the cooking on the open fire, and you know what? When you're young, that's fine. That's good for you. You know what? And good for him. He really enjoys it. But for me, we have the full Coleman Kitchen. We have the sink, the counter. I have cutting boards there for preparing food. I have a nice single burner Weber propane barbecue that I love, as well as my Coleman propane stove. Once again, very convenient, very easy for my wife and I to prepare food and clean our dishes and that sort of thing. In the cooking and eating area, of course, we are encased or housed by a screen house, and that helps to keep some of the mosquitoes away from us and some of the bugs. We want to enjoy spending time relaxing with each other and reading or playing a card game or what have you, but I want to talk about a few of the gadgets here that we like to use. For starters, I talked about the bugs in the screen house. Guys, one of the most amazing things that we have found for camping is one of these, and that is a Thermacell. Now, Thermacells basically emit a little bit of a fog to keep the mosquitoes away, and you would be blown away at how well this thing works. There's two types. There's a butane type that ignites and emits the smoke or the mist. And then there's the rechargeable type, which is what I have here, which emits a little tiny wisp of the material. And honest to goodness, within 10 minutes of that thing being turned on, you will not see a mosquito near you until the battery dies. It is absolutely amazing. Some of the other things we like, a rechargeable emergency radio that also has a gyro option and solar option. It also charges our devices, so we love that thing as well. It's nice to listen to a local radio station. Now, the camping grounds that we go to They have a lot of amenities, guys. If we want to do laundry, we can, although we never have. But they do have a shower facility. They have a way for us to go down after setting up and getting all sweaty. There's a way for us to go down and have a shower and get cleaned up and refreshed. And if that doesn't suit you, they have a beautiful beach with a really nice swimming area. Now for me, I like to do a little bit of snorkeling, and I had a new mask this year that I wanted to try out, which is one of the full face snorkel masks, and the thing is just incredible. I love it. It gives a really great view, a great view of the wildlife that's down there below the surface, the fish, etc., etc. I just love the snorkeling, and my wife sort of spends her time floating around the lake on her little floaty, enjoying the sun and the cool water of the lake. Now, for sleeping at night, it can get a little warm. My wife is one that does not like fans, but I like fans. I'm a fan of fans, you might say. I have, from the ceiling of our tent, a little mini fan, ceiling fan / light assembly. This thing works amazing. Rechargeable. On low, you can get 3 evenings out of it. So it works really well. It's easy to recharge, and it gives just enough breeze on low to keep the air flowing, to keep you cool. That's something, if you want to do a little bit of glamping, let's say, consider a ceiling fan for your tent, because it is unbelievable. But I want to show you these things. These are my tent lanterns. I have one in the tent gazebo in our kitchen area. I have one in our sleeping tent, and then I have one somewhere else. I'm going to get to that in a minute. But these little lanterns are absolutely incredible. I think at the time I paid $30 a piece for them. They are rechargeable, and they last forever. Forever. I've never had one die on me. They're not only great for camping, but they're great for having around the house for a power outage instead of burning candles or whatnot. These things sit on a table. They're magnetic mount, or they can hang by their built-in wire hangers, and they give such a nice light. They has a flashlight built in, or you can use it as a 3 different tier lantern. Either way, they are amazing. I can't say enough about these. I bought one for both of my daughters for their camping gear because they are so amazing. But either way, lanterns, very helpful thing. Now, here's the other thing. We are getting older, and we're not a big fan of having to walk way over to the outhouses or whatever to use the bathroom. So, I know, this isn't really roughing it, but we have our own bathroom that we bring with us. It's a small little pop-up tent with a small chemical toilet. It lasts us the entire weekend, or the 5 days that we're there, on one tank. And honestly, guys, if you're getting up there and you still want to get out and enjoy the outdoors, there's no shame in having your own little camp toilet. Call it what you want. This is the way we do it. Now, things that we like to do. I already mentioned the snorkeling, but one of our favorite things to do in the evening is to sit around and have a campfire. And we don't really do much by the campfire. Sometimes I'll pick up a ukulele and play a few songs. Mine illuminates. Go figure. This particular one is called an outdoor uke, and it is, I'm not sure if it's 3D printed or injection molded or whatever, but it's waterproof. It can get wet, it can get dirty, it's pretty much indestructible. Unlike my wooden ukuleles, this one is the one we take camping, and it's nice to have it light up there so you can read your sheet music if you have to, or just for a little bit of ambient lighting for the heck of it, right? We also like to sit back and just read a couple books. So an e-book is one of the things that or an e-reader is one of the things that we both have, and there's nothing quite like sitting outside on a beautiful evening and reading a book beside the campfire. It's one of the things that we enjoy, as well as just walking around the camp. There's nothing wrong with getting out there and getting a little bit of exercise. Now guys, this isn't camping style for everybody. Not everybody likes to camp like this. And in fact, even my children say, do you even like camping? Because we do it in such an extravagant style. But it's what suits us. It's what we enjoy. It's what we like to do. And we get out there, we can spend time together. The best part about this campground, and it's the same campground we go to every time, it's about a 3.5 hour drive from my house. There is no internet. There's no internet. There's no cell phone service. There's none of that. So if you see a time on the show, normally right after the show, I'm answering all your comments and all your questions. But there's times where you see where it goes like 5 days and I haven't said a word. Chances are, if it's during the summer, I'm camping. And it's nice to be unplugged for that period of time where I don't have to worry about editing. I don't have to worry about filming. I don't have to answer questions or answer emails or check the website or etc., etc. The phone is useless. It's a brick while we're there. And the only thing it really gets used for is taking a couple of photos. And I'm quite okay with that. So of course there's plenty of wildlife. We saw that we had some fish under the surface of the lake there. But we also have our little chipmunk buddy that always comes by. And my wife brings some seeds for him to munch on when we go. So when it comes to packing our food, this is kind of a crazy thing. I make my own food packets. I take plastic bags and I use a bag sealer and I section them off into squares. And I fill those squares with things like ketchup or relish, condiments, margarine if we need it for grease in a pan, that sort of thing. We had souvlaki one night and wanted some tzatziki to go with it. So again, I made this long packet of tzatziki. It takes up no room in the coolers instead of trying to bring a jar of ketchup. And you don't have to go out and get packages and pay for those for something you already have in your fridge. You can just make your own little packets. I use a bag sealer for this, and you can use sandwich bags to do it. You just basically cut the top off when you're ready and squeeze it out onto whatever you want. But it's a great idea. Also, my advice to anybody out there who is going camping, guys, don't waste your money with ice cubes. Everyone buys a bag of cubes. And I don't know why people do that, because it doesn't matter how good your cooler is. I have a couple of really nice Yeti coolers that are fantastic, like 2-inch thick wall styrofoam inside of those things. No matter how good your coolers are, ice cubes don't last. So grab every bit of Tupperware you've got out of your cupboard, fill them halfway up with water, and start freezing them a week before and putting them in the deep freeze. Use block ice. By the end of 5 days, on the hottest days of summer, we still have a ton of ice left, and none of our stuff ever goes bad. We always have cold drinks that we need. Our large cooler is for food. It gets opened maybe a couple times a day very quickly to pull out that meal. The other cooler, which is a smaller one, is strictly for drinks, and that one you can go into several times a day and whatever. We don't worry about that one. But we never run out of ice, and we never run out of a way to keep our stuff cold when we're using blocked ice. So keep that in mind for your camping trip. And there you have it. Acutabove Woodworkings goes camping. Guys, I don't need to hear below that that's not camping. That's not camping. It is for us. It's what we enjoy. We used to do it the roughing it way, and our bodies were telling us you can't do it anymore. So rather than stopping what we love to do and stopping those weekends of getting away and just enjoying each other's company without the internet, without the distractions, we decided to kick it up a notch and make it so that we could go there, be comfortable, but still enjoy the outdoors. Sitting outside, even on a rainy day underneath our screen house, we're still outdoors. We're still playing card games together. We're still enjoying each other's company. We're still having meals together. We still like to play things outside, float around in the lake together, go for a swim, go for a hike, go for a walk. we're still spending time together, and we're still doing it outside of the house. We're enjoying the fresh air. And honestly, guys, there's nothing wrong with that. No matter how you do it, whether you do it in a little more of an extravagant style or whether you rough it with a tarp over top of a sleeping bag and you rub two sticks together to cook your food, however you want to do it, it really doesn't matter. Don't say it's not camping. Don't say that it's wrong. Everybody does it their own way, and it doesn't matter how you do it. It matters that you just do it. Enjoy the outdoors, get active, and have some fun. Guys, I want to thank you so much for tuning in this week. Just something a little different. I really didn't have anything in mind for today's show, so I thought this could be something a little different and a little fun, just to give you an insight of kind of when I say I'm going camping, exactly what it is that I'm doing. Guys, if you haven't already, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel. You click the bell, and then you're not going to miss the notifications of future episodes of the program. I want to thank you so much for tuning in this week, guys. I hope you've enjoyed the content. I hope you've kind of gotten some ideas with some of the gadgets and stuff that I showed you here on today's show and the things that we used. If you have any questions about them, of course, drop them below. But more importantly, guys, I hope that you're going to join me again next week when I bring you yet another Alternative Tuesdays.